Welcome back to the BookFest Club. I'm your co-host Jay, along with my co-host Key, and we're missing one out of the three. My boy Jules.
Yes, we're not the Three Musketeers tonight.
He's on family duty, man. His son is AAU basketball, so he's doing a fatherly duty.
Shout out to his son. Much success to their team.
Much success in the AAU tournament, man. We miss you over here, but we understand that family comes first, and we got your seat nice and hot when you get back. But
absolutely,
how was your week, Key?
My week was good, as me and Jay were discussing right before we started. Much of the reason for our brief little absence there in February, I buried my grandfather on Saturday. So thank you very, very much. He was a great and amazing man. We had a great turnout, and I'm so happy that he's at peace and he's at rest. But the rest of my week was just trying to catch up on sleep. I've told Jay I just started this night shift and I'm still trying to get used to this sleep schedule. I'm tired as hell all the time. But how was your week, Jay?
Man, my week was good. Basketball season is over for us as well. So now I'm locked in. I got my Kindle Unlimited subscription back.
Jay said he's a Kindle baddie now.
Yeah, I'm a Kindle baddie now. I love my Kindle paperweight. I got my Amazon Fire tablet. I think that's gonna be on the go when I'm like traveling or something like that. I need a bigger, to read so I can look at it more. But while I'm in bed with my feet curled up and toes curling, I like to listen to my Kindle. I like to read on my Kindle paperweight. And I love it, man. But we're back to recording 2 times a week, so you can catch us. It's probably gonna be Mondays and Thursdays again when you'll get a new episode. So you'll have new episodes every Monday and Thursday, unless we gotta, shift things around because in life things happen.
Yep.
But we back 2 times a week, so that's double the reading, double the episodes, so y'all don't have to wait, another week for an episode, But well, starting with this new week right here, man, we got Freida McFadden's newest release this year in 2026, Dear Debbie. I'm gonna leave it to my co-host. So as we going into our rubric, we got a rubric for every genre, man. It's ours.
We sure do.
Can't nobody take it from us. We just got one for every subgenre out there.
We sure do. Yes, that's why we do it at the BookFest Club.
That's right, Key. That's right. But number one in the critique rubric, and I'm going to start off with my co-host, the hook. Did it grab you immediately, or did it grab the reader immediately?
It grabbed me immediately. Absolutely immediately. Freida is really, really good at that. My co-host Jay is a huge Freida fan. He's the one that put me on. This book starts off, Dear Debbie is an advice columnist, so she writes for a newsletter. And the very beginning of the book starts off with someone writing into her, and she's like, hey, my family won't eat, they won't eat breakfast. What do I do? And Debbie ends her advice by saying, if they won't eat, then bolt all the doors and force them to eat. I was like, yeah, I already knew she's my kind of girl, because I absolutely believe in leading by force. So when I read that, I was immediately hooked in, like, yes, I've got to sink my teeth into this one. What about you, Jay?
Man, I was like, this lady is crazy. Like, even by the cover of the book, I'm like, oh, here we go, Freida back in her bag in 2026. And I won't sit here in front. Freida's my GOAT, right? But I was just like, she got to come with a banger. It's like the Drake effect. Everybody's waiting on Iceman, Drake's new album,
but it's
like, and Freida is like, I feel like she's in that mode too right now, where like, it's a lot of scrutiny against her because people don't really like her writing style, which is weird to me, but I mean, it's to each his own. But I feel like this book needed to deliver, right, for 2026, and she set precedent early, and it did. It captivated us early with Debbie, with her crazy column for a newspaper, her advice, small town. And her advice was just off the hook. So it didn't take too long to build for me because the anticipation was there. It was something about, even I listened to it. You read it, I listened to it. So it was something about the narrator's voice that was like, yo, this lady is creepy and crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like her mannerisms at any time. I didn't know when she was going to snap, how she was going to snap. You know what I'm saying? But it just hooked. The hook was from the beginning. Immediately hooked us on.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I will say this, right? The plots were for you. Because for me, I don't go into a Freida book and I don't be like, oh, I don't want her to get me. I don't go into it with the attitude. I go into it with a clean, fresh mind. This is not her other books, right? So in our rubric 2, right? How was the plot? Like, were the twists shocking or predictable? for you, knowing what you know now?
Knowing what I know now, I definitely think that there were many twists that I was shocked about, for sure. When we find out who certain people are, I was very, very shocked, and we'll get to that. But because that's the thing about Freida McFadden, like, you will read it and you will think you know. And I do this with every single one of her books. In this one, even, I was super, super mad at the husband. Like, how dare you, Cooper? Yeah, how dare you freaking cheat on my girl Debbie? How dare you be?
I was like, yo, what is going on? Like, she's gonna kill you, bro.
Literally, I was thinking the whole time. I was thinking, okay, Debbie set him up. She knows that he's cheating, and then to get to the end, and that's absolutely not what was happening. So I will absolutely say, Freida, the twists that she does, you never see coming. But I will say this also, Jay. I think her twists are starting to be a bit predictable. What? And I say that because I'm telling you, I feel like in The Boyfriend, in The Tenant, and even in this one, Dear Debbie, the twist is always one of the characters is not who you think they are. You think it's this character, but it's another character. That has been the twist for each of the 3 books that I've read of Freida. So even though I'm still surprised, I feel like in that aspect, it is predictable, because I feel like when the twist comes, I'm like, this is typical Freida. It's not like a new twist that she's done with her book. So it's like, yes, I was surprised, but it's also predictable at the same time because of her writing style.
I'm always going to be on the opposite. I'm always going to be on the opposite end of that.
Jay, but you are biased.
I am biased. But when I go into the book, I'm looking at it like, okay, we know what Cooper's doing, right? We think we know what Cooper's doing, right?
What Cooper is doing.
He's with Harley, right? At this time, he's doing.
I couldn't stand her.
Harley was pissing me off throughout the whole
like,
book.
You bitch.
And she was not. She was like real bold and nonchalant with it. Like, I'm gonna invite her to dinner and I'm gonna tell her.
I'm gonna tell her husband.
Like, who? You don't tell no married woman that. Like, what's wrong with you?
And it was just her complete. She did not care. Like, that man tried to kill himself after she lured him away from his wife. Edgar lured him away, and then she decided, well, your wife had all the money, so I don't want to be with you.
She was with him for the money.
And that's why I said I didn't like Harley.
He's a vegetable, and she's like, you can't even go see my brother.
Like,
he's an hour away.
That's not my problem. That's not my problem.
And sprayed her. And I'm looking at her like, Harley ain't, and then go in there and lock the door. That's why I say the twist, after you feel like you finally got Freida, because that's how I felt. I felt like I finally got you, Freida. I
finally got it.
I know I was assuming that she was going to set him up.
That's what I thought too.
And get him sent away.
Because he was cheating.
Teach him. Right.
Yes.
And boom, 360. My God, I was not expecting that ending. So I felt like when I listened to it and I thought I had it, she topsy-turvy that mother on me.
But she always does. That's typical Freida McFadden.
But this one was like, nobody would have guessed that ending. Nobody had no idea that would have ended up the way it did, right? So I just felt like with the plot and the twist, it was like, did you see any signs, any flags of like towards the twist or anything like that? Did anything have you thinking that the real Cooper was going to pop out?
Yeah, I thought the real Cooper, when she went and she invited the guy over, I honestly thought that it was going to be the real Cooper. And this is how Freida sets you up, okay? The book, like I said, it's about Debbie. She's an advice columnist, but she's also kind of crazy. If you guys have seen, I think it's a 70s movie, it's called Serial Mom, then you would understand what this book is about, okay? Debbie, she's a housewife. She's the perfect mother. She ties her husband's tie. But when people piss her off, she goes absolutely postal. Some of the things that she does over the course of the book, she cuts her next door neighbor Brett's fuse box,
digs up, push the mulch or the
baby bugs or whatever,
bugs
beetles
inside the lady's house because she stole the magazine
cover,
cover from her, or whatever she was going to be in the magazine about her garden.
Her daughter's soccer coach kicked her off the team for being too fat. And she hears that he's a pervert, and what she does over the course of the book is she sets him up, makes it seem like he has access to cameras that are in the girls' locker room. What else does she do? Zane with
Lexi.
That was the twist, or the most unpredictable and the most unrealistic part of the book for me. I couldn't believe that Zane would go to a park bench, see an open bottle of beer just sitting there and drink it. I was like, I know that he had to drink it because she had to drug him. But I'm going to be honest, Jay, did that make sense to you? What person is going to go to a park, see a random can of beer sitting there and drink it? I was just like, I wish.
I think he's like I'm thinking he's like a tall, slim, asshole kind of kid, long, greasy hair.
Yeah.
And it's like just drinking a joint, like take a sip and it's like, oh well, might as well get a little buzz while I'm here. You know
You
what I
right.
mean? And then
I
it'll
see
also
that.
depend on the neighborhood too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if he was in the hood, you know what I'm saying, demographic
Yeah.
wise. So I could see why she did it. It didn't make the most sense of it,
Yeah,
but it
because I
needed
was
to
just like, I
flow in the
wish she
story.
would've I wish there was another way that she
What would
would've
have
got him
been
drunk
right
because
if you
that
got him
didn't
drugged up?
but Zane is a boy in the story who tries to blackmail her daughter into performing sexual acts on him because he's taking naked pictures or topless
But
pictures
she
of her.
did give him a blowjob though.
She did! I
She
seen
gave
that
him a
part, and
blowjob,
he
yeah,
said that
because he
she
was like,
wasn't
she's
good at it.
terrible at
Yeah.
blowjobs.
I
So
was like
I was
and
like, Lexi out here sucking him early, but ain't giving up the
But
yen.
she's literally 17, you know, I feel like as a teenage girl, there's certain things that you would do sexually, but before you go all the way to the sex act, there's
Right,
certain
right.
things that you're comfortable with that you're like before, but Zane was pressuring her by being like, I'm gonna expose your pictures. So you know what Debbie does when she finds out, she drugs Zane, goes through his phone. Zane's actually done this before. He is a
With
terrible
another girl,
child.
yep.
He is a pervert and he stole other pictures of another girl and circulated them. So Debbie sends evidence of that to the school and Zane, he comes by and she threatens him. Do you know what happens to perverts in jail? Do you know what happens? Depressed or sad or upset, he tries to kill himself by driving his car into a building and end up breaking his neck.
At the school.
At the school.
At the school. My
So
son is sipping through a straw. You know what I'm saying? At
Debbie
the
is
end of the
not
book.
one to mess with, okay?
Everybody got they just
Every
do. If you
and then
mess with Debbie and got on her bad side, you was getting your just
you
due,
was
just
getting
at
your just
Jesse.
due. And then
And
as
she
we're
ain't letting
reading,
it go.
guys, we're thinking Debbie, because the book is dual point of view. Okay, it's Debbie and it's that of her husband, Cooper. And Cooper has a secret. We know this. Cooper ain't doing something right. He feels guilty about something.
Right.
He's
And we
leaving the
thinking,
house. He's
yep.
leaving the house and coming back all late with the food. And like Debbie is suspicious. We're suspicious. And there's another character in the book named Harley. She gets a point of view as well.
Yep.
Harley
POV.
thinks that she is having an affair with Cooper and she befriends Debbie.
Cooper Muller.
Yes, she befriends Debbie to kind of get more information on Cooper. And then she decides, you know what, I'm going to throw it in her face that I'm sleeping with her husband because I'm tired of waiting for Cooper to leave his wife. So this whole time we're seeing Debbie, someone get revenge for anybody that wrongs her and her family. And at the same time, we're thinking Cooper is having an affair with Harley. And it looks like because Debbie does some other extracurriculars, doesn't she, Jay? What does she do to the boss? She does something.
Man, she goes over to Ken's crib, pulls up on him like, yo, you ain't giving my, that's the backstory why she even pull up to him.
Yes.
In the beginning, she's talking to her husband about Cooper, about him getting a partnership at the accounting firm where her and Ken at, and he's like a little itch.
Yeah.
He's scared of Ken, and he's feeling like, yo, I don't really want to go in there and ruffle no feathers. So he winds up going to Ken anyway and talking to him about what he's done for the firm and how he's bought good business, his good clients, and the work that he's done. And Ken is like, yeah, I hear you. And he's like, well, what about a partnership? And he's like, nah. And he's like, I could think Ken like on his computer clicking, and he talking to him, and he like
ain't paying him no attention. Nah.
And he's
and
like,
he keeps on
what?
clicking.
Nah. And he's just keep on clicking. He's like, and then when he finally gets to him, like he's like, I've done a lot for the firm. I've brought in the most clients. He's like, you're still replaceable, dog.
Literally,
you know
you're
what I'm saying? So basically, they get into a little spat. Well, he gets into a spat because Ken is calm and hell. Like, yo, you want to turn in your resignation, bro? Go ahead, turn it in. Don't worry about it. I could find another one for cheaper. You're replaceable. You know what I mean? But even before you go in, he gotta buzz the receptionist who then gets up and go. They was just treating Cooper, the real Cooper. They was treating him like trash throughout the whole book. He was such a pushover. So that's why Debbie goes over to Ken's house, because she had this whole plan in motion, and we'll talk about the plan. It didn't make much sense. But she goes over to holler at Ken, right? You know, just shooting the stuff about him. And then the chapter closes after they kind of had this conversation, and she backed that thing out on him and goes into the crib. You kind of know, right, what's going to happen. We just don't know how it's going to unfold, where he's at, when everything happens.
In that house.
Exactly. So then that goes
vacation now.
He goes on a fishing trip, an unexpected fishing trip, and nobody can reach him. So in this one, in the suspense and tension, did it create real anxiety? Were the stakes high? And did we feel urgency?
Yes, all of those.
All three.
I definitely think
all three.
Yes, absolutely. You said
all three.
Did it create real anxiety? I was really anxious for Cooper. I really was. Like I said, the whole book, we're thinking Cooper has done Debbie wrong, and we've seen as her get back gets increasingly worse. She started by cutting somebody's fuse box to setting someone up
next door neighbor,
setting the next door neighbor up, cutting his fuse box, to then killing Ken. Or we don't know yet what happens, but we figured that she kills Ken. She does
and even
a lot
going down to the frat house and possibly burning that up
down
because
we find
something
out
happened, and we'll talk about that in the writing and the pacing. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but yes, absolutely built anxiety, because the whole time I'm thinking she gonna get Cooper good, and the whole time we're thinking that he's being set up. We have the suspense and the tension building between Harley. She is about to have a confrontation with Debbie, and we know how crazy Debbie is, and Harley is not all the way there either.
That's right.
What was the other thing? Were the stakes high? Yes, because if Cooper was about to lose his life, he had already lost his job. Debbie didn't have a job. I mean, it was like things were just mounting. The stress, the pressure,
I was
mounting.
Stressed. I was stressed for Cooper.
I was like, oh my God.
Oh myself.
The tension was there the entire time. And that's something that I really love about Freida McFadden books. Like, you don't know what's happening even when you think you know, but you will know one thing. There will be tension, the stakes will be high, and you will be terrified of what's to happen next. And that's exactly how I felt. Like, it was just mounting. I was
stressed out throughout the whole time. Because Debbie was too calm for me. She did not lose her cool one time. Not one time in the book did she yell, get her point across. Now, when she was talking to us, the POV, from her point of view, she was hysterical, but she wasn't like, everything was cool, calm. Like, it was more or less like,
her outside facade was like,
who does he think he talking to? I will kill his ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, he does not know who he's messing with. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like what we had. And even to get back it down to the pacing, where that goes into pacing, it's like, it wasn't dragging. It wasn't fast paced. It was like a mixture of both, but in a good way. I agree. It was slow, but it needed to be slow so we can gather to the story. Because when you get to the end, you're gonna understand why things unfolded the way it unfolded, and you needed to pay attention to detail in the book in order to get it. So I didn't feel like it was dragging. I felt like the dialogue was sharp. The characters was, it will go back to characters because we skipped that one. The characters, everybody was smart, educated. They went to good schools, colleges, firms, papers. It felt sophisticated. Even the house, they had a high mortgage, but it was a house. Everybody had houses. So just think about the sharp dialogue in between everybody was proper. It wasn't a different type of style of book. Everybody was on there. And she didn't do no over explaining. Everything was just enough, because even she would cut chapters short in order to keep the law of, I got to get to the next chapter to see what happened next. So I felt like in writing and pacing for this story, it was amazing, in my opinion. What about you?
I agree 100% with everything you said. We were talking about this over on Threads about how short chapters versus long chapters and why it matters for the pacing of the book. And I think Freida does a really good job implementing those short chapters, because it's like it builds that entire time and the chapter just abruptly ends, and it leaves you like, wait, what? And you have to keep reading, and it feels like you're just racing through the books because the chapters are so short. But I have to agree with Jay. I thought the pacing was absolutely perfect. There were downtime and there were moments where there wasn't a lot happening, but you could feel the tension the entire time. It was still there. It wasn't just slow. It was just, okay, we've had something big happen. Now we're calming down from that because we're building to the next big moment. And I felt like it was a roller coaster ride. My emotions were doing the roller coaster. The pacing was a roller coaster, but in the best possible way, because it built that suspense. It lets you breathe while slowly building it again. And then bam, something else happens. So I have to agree with Jay. I think the dialogue was great. I think something that she really captured really well was the mindset of teenage girls. I wanted to literally beat her daughter's ass.
Yo, Lexi was annoying,
was disrespectful. In
the
beginning of the book, when Debbie's like, oh, my daughter told me that I wasn't allowed to talk to her in the morning, I was like, if I ever said that to my mom, she would still be getting off of my ass at 31 years old. She would have whooped my ass. She would be like, what do you mean?
Every year,
don't talk to you. And then, or she would be like, okay, don't talk to you. Anything that I needed, I would never get, because she's like, you don't want me to talk to you. But it was just, I feel like, but the author captured teenage girl brattiness, because I can even admit at that age, me and my mom did not get along. We was always butting heads. It was just, I was so frustrated. She don't understand, mom, so I couldn't stand Lexi, but that's how teenage girls are. And I feel like she captured her other daughter. What's her? Lexi and Izzy. That's the daughter's name. Izzy, how her confidence was shattered when her coach tells her, you're too fat to play. And just that play of emotions, like she's making her favorite pancakes, but she doesn't want to eat them at first because she's like, damn, I'm too fat. And Mom, please don't call, because she's embarrassed about the fact that her coach is telling her she's overweight. So like you said, I think the dialogue was great. I think between husband and wife, it was great. I think she kept Debbie's voice consistent the entire time. Like you said, Debbie is completely calm the entire time. She's completely unruffled. She has this plan in her head. And she seemed, like I said, she's got that calm that's just like a little bit psychotic. And I think that's why it just kept building in the book, because we really don't know what she's going to do next. She's so calm that, you know, when she explodes, something's going to happen. Okay. And that ringing, me and Jay were talking about that aspect of the dialogue, when even Debbie can feel this buzzing in the back of her head when she starts to get, we talked about Kill Bill.
And so she said, yo, the buzzing is getting bigger. It's getting bigger.
When that would start, we would know Debbie's about to do something. Y'all done angered her. It's bad news. So just all of those elements, she kept it fresh. She kept the dialogue great, pacing great. I have to agree. I really love that part of the book. Yep, absolutely.
And we skipped one, but we can get right back into it. The characters, the strong protagonist. What did you think about the strong protagonist in the book?
Debbie, she was someone that I really liked. I wanted to root for her. I feel like, you know, she's righting wrongs. And there was the part when we found out what happens to her in college. You know, she talks about this like sparingly over the course of the book. We know something happened, but we didn't really know what happened and put the pieces together until the very end. But I feel like I wanted to root for Debbie because it seemed like she had been through a lot. She was this super, super smart woman whose career was derailed by someone who sexually assaulted her and
raped
just
her, got in the guts while she was drinking. And she was a straight A student while she was in college. Super smart. She went to MIT.
Which is
she was hanging with the best with exactly. So she was really into the computer tech stuff. And then just think about it, her mental, like she even described her mental, like this stuff that really happens. You know, she wasn't heard. She started failing classes and eventually dropped out of school, right?
And
but
she never went back. She never forgot.
So
and there was a part of me too. There was a part of me too that just I felt really bad for her and I wanted her to win. So she was definitely a super strong protagonist.
Yes. And what about the villain? We know it's a multitude of villains. We got Jesse, aka was it Mitch? It was like Mitch, and then Jesse, aka Cooper. You know what I'm saying? And then we got Harley. Right? And then we got
she's a hard-lit. She's a harsh slut is what she is. Literally hating her.
Then Ken. You know, everybody was a villain, right? Everybody was a villain in that book, actually. So I think it was I'm always going to remember Harley, though. Harley and Mitch, too. I mean, and Jesse, too. But I mean, Harley, with the nerve of how she spoke about this guy leaving his wife
and
for you. And maybe he's going to just tell
me. Yeah, she even insults Debbie's intelligence. Like when they remember when they go to which I love this part, by the way, I knew that this is the reason why Debbie did this. Do you remember the part when they take the sandwiches to the book club and she purposely put avocados on it because she likes Harley at this point and she doesn't want to hurt Harley and she knew Harley's allergic. So when she said, oh my God, I forgot that you don't like avocado, I knew immediately them sandwiches are poisoned because I was like, there's no way she would forget that. Debbie is a little like ditzy at times, but she's very, very attention to detail.
Very smart.
Yes. And when she poisons those sandwiches, like I was like
insane.
But yes, Harley at that point is like, I don't think Debbie's really that smart. Cooper has been telling her Debbie's not good at sex or not having sex or this or that. And she's hearing this from Cooper. So she's assuming these things about Debbie. And I was rooting for Debbie the whole time. And so Harley being against her, I was like, I absolutely hated her. And what happened to her, I feel like completely justified.
Justifiable because you done that to Edgar, and you know what I'm saying? And you left Edgar. Edgar lost his family, his kids, his wife, everybody. So it was just pure karma. And
she was kind of stupid too. I felt like Harley was messing with men who like she wanted to be with Cooper. First of all, married men are off limits. Like, you a bitch for that. But two, it's like, as young and as hot as she thinks she is, I'm like, why are you messing with these low-time men? Why are you not messing with billionaires or millionaires? You're messing with a fucking accountant. And she's like, because I'm going to be taken care of. He literally can't even afford the house. Debbie told you that. Like, we can't really afford it. Why was she wanting? I just felt like she wasn't even being smart about it. That was one of my critiques. Like, Harley was cheating with married men who could give her nothing. Like, what kind of life was Cooper going to be able to give you as a lowly accountant? Like, you want him to leave you?
Exactly.
Like, he don't have no damn money. funny, but so I couldn't stand her ass. I literally was like, I couldn't wait for her to go. But like you said, the book had many villains because people had Debbie fucked up. Exactly. And she handled it over the course of the book.
There weren't no unnecessary characters. Like everybody fit. Because think about it. Everybody in the book had something going on in their life. Typical family. Think about it. She wrote this and I'm going to give y'all my rating later. I was paying attention to the small details. A 17-year-old girl, what is she going to go through? She's going to have a rebellious boyfriend, or she's going to date a rebellious boyfriend that her parents don't like, right? Izzy, the younger one, more or less self-conscious with her body issues. A husband who is, struggling at work, trying to get a partner to support his family. Debbie, who had a traumatic incident. So she's writing this from the perspective of, we're a family, but we're not so great we might look so great to the outside world, but we have internal problems too. So I felt like there was no unnecessary side characters. Everybody played a part because the plan had to unfold and go that way. Every character, you know what I'm saying? Like every character had to have that. So I thought that was great. And as we move to closing, originality before we get to the ending, I felt like this was fresh. The only thing I will say is that I've seen her do it before. Where she did it in the house, but she did it in the Housemaid too.
She did, But I haven't read the Housemaid too.
Okay, so she did it. I ain't gonna ruin it. Okay. All right, so we ain't gonna. I've seen this before from Freida, right? But I didn't expect this. You know what I mean? Like it was a different trope from other things, and I felt like the storyline was definitely a fresh concept. It was a fresh concept for me, right? But I've seen it, but it wasn't overused, in my opinion. And I know, I don't know if you read. You read a lot of thrillers as well, so we'll get with you as well. But I felt like it's to me, it stood out in the thriller space. I don't even need. We've been explaining the book to y'all, giving y'all clues, hidden gems, things that happen in the book. If this doesn't sound exciting to you, I don't know what type of thriller will. But go ahead, Key. What did you think about originality?
I was going to say, I think that it's extremely, extremely original. I feel like it's original and not original at the same time. Like I kind of described to you, I feel like I had never really seen, I don't want to say I've never seen a twist. I read a lot of thriller, like you said, and that happens a lot where people are not who they say they are. But I think Freida just always has a fresh approach. It doesn't feel like I read it before, even though psychological thrillers are a thing. And, some parts of it can be a bit predictable, like someone is not who they say they are. This is connected to this. So I feel like it's a similar trope theme, but I definitely think Freida always takes a fresh approach to it. But at the same time, like I kind of discussed earlier, I feel like her twists are unpredictable, but they're predictable for her writing because she, like I said, the boyfriend had kind of the same thing. There was a character who was going by a name that, you know what I mean? That wasn't, like, it's the same thing happened in The Intruder. There was a character there's two characters with similar, you know what I mean? Like she does this. So it's predictable for her writing. But like you said, I'm always drawn in and I still can never predict the twist, even
what's
still.
So the twist, so
I definitely think it's still fresh. Yep.
So as we get to the ending, right? Satisfying payoff. Did the ending live up to it? Were you satisfied with how it ended? The twist and everything. What it was, and we're gonna explain it in a second. Should we explain it?
No, go ahead, Jay. Go. Because
I'm saying, should we explain the ending to them? Or
yes, because they know that this is not a spoiler-free podcast. We talk about the details.
Bad. Just spoiling it. All right. So the ending
when Jay's excited, go ahead.
Cooper is supposed to be cheating with Harley, who Cooper is married to Debbie. Debbie thinks that her friendship with Harley thinks that her friendship with Debbie is going to come to an end. I feel so bad spoiling it. Yo, if you're listening or watching this right now is the portion where you turn it off and you do listen, turn it off, whether you're listening to it or whether you're watching us on YouTube. Right now, I need you to turn it off and go read the book and then come back. We're giving you an opportunity to leave right now. So let's get back to it, right? As we said, Cooper, Harley's thinking she's dating Cooper, right? Who is married to Debbie. Little did she know that Cooper wasn't the actual Cooper. Cooper was Jesse, and she was thinking that Cooper, and she was thinking that she was going to tell Debbie about her and Cooper when she was really would have just told her about Jesse, who was not married to her at all. So all of the things that the Cooper that we thought we was listening to in the book was talking to Carly and had these issues going on, it was the wrong one, because the real Cooper had an issue with drinking. So when the person that called him right before the chapter just abruptly ended was he called his sponsor. That was the secret that Debbie's actual husband was hiding from her, was that she was an alcoholic. Because if you go back in the early scene, it was a bottle of wine that had water in it because she thought that Zane drank it. And it wasn't Zane. It was actually her husband, Cooper, who drank the wine. And he's been an alcoholic for years, and he hid that from Debbie. So that was the only thing that he was actually hiding from his wife. Meanwhile, the fake Cooper, aka Jesse, was the one that was actually dealing with Harley, who then abruptly is like, oh my God, you're not the real Cooper. How could you? Get out my face. So you were just okay with just because it was, you thought it was that Cooper, right? Not knowing that this was somebody else's husband named Jesse, right? So then after that, you want to finish or you want me to keep going? All right. So after that, then Debbie had this plan in motion where she actually took Ken's life, right? And set it up. She stole Jesse's gun from him to make it seem like she had a plan in motion to make it seem like Ken was having an affair. He was having an affair. He had some trouble. He stole money from the firm. When Ken confronted him, he killed Ken and then went over to his mistress' house. And because she was going to out him, he killed her. He killed her. But this was all set up by Debbie. And she played this part so well. Drugged. So she went to the gym and she drugged Jesse, who was coming from the gym, going to Harley's house, because she's thinking that she's talking to
but she
his
didn't
wife.
drug him, remember? It was the lady
Cindy
at the gym. It was
at the
Cindy
gym
at the
who drugged him, who got the stuff
and
from
why
Debbie.
did Cindy help Debbie, Jay?
Because
you see, it all connects.
You see, it was Harley who was messing. It was Ken, who was the real Cooper's boss, who was making her life hell by keeping her away from her kids, right? And making it hard for her in a divorce where she wasn't getting any type of residuals or any type of money. And he was keeping all of that from her. So it was like, you scratch my back, I scratch your back. And she had no problem with letting Cindy know and doing all of this stuff. And only she knows the actual secrets of what she did. Now this guy wakes up. Jesse wakes up and he's in her house. Debbie's gone. She put everything together. She put a bullet right inside Harley's head when she went to visit her to set it up. And she obviously, Jesse was drugged. So when he woke up in a frantic, he's trying to wipe off his fingerprints, and it was anonymous.
The cops show up.
Police call, obviously, and then he gets caught up in jail. But he gets caught up and sent to jail for her murder and Kim murder, where they was trying to tie him up as this person who was tying up loose ends and stealing from the firm, and double murder. Next thing you know, we also find out, remember when we said Debbie was raped, it turned out the person who raped her, Jesse, who worked at the firm, and how she knew that was when they went on a double date with Cooper's coworkers. When she shook his hand or when she saw him, she recognized his face. So this is why her plan in motion was to do all of this. So that was the ending of the book. Madness. Pure madness. Satisfying payoff. Plot holes was crazy. And did it stick to the land? And it sure did, because we get retribution, because he gets his tail whipped in jail. With rocks and locks and socks in the sock. Rocks and locks in the sock. They beat him, bust his jaw, messed up his teeth, beat him up to a bloody pulp. And we come to find out, not only did he rape her, he raped another girl and killed her. So therefore, he got his just due, because it was like he raped, but he didn't kill. So Freida put it out there like, nah, you ain't gonna have no room to feel bad for him. Not only did he rape, he actually did murder somebody. So now he really gets it full circle, right? So she just brought it all together, man. What did you think?
I like the twist, but I did find some issues with it.
Uh-oh.
So
let's hear it.
It starts with over the course of the book, something that Debbie says is she alludes to something happening to her when she was in school. We don't know really what it is. And one of the things that she says is, think about how much better my life could have been if my parents would have protected me. That's something that she says. And so the entire time I'm thinking it must have been something that happened to her when she was in high school, because, that's when she would have been under her parents' care. And I feel like Freida threw that in there. It's like, ooh, that's like a hint of what happened. But I was thinking, she was raped at MIT. How could her parents could have protected her for that? So her comment saying that didn't make sense to me. Like, I wish my parents would have protected me. And I'm thinking, what did they do to not protect you? Let you go off to school? You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing that they could have done to protect you from that situation. There's nothing she could have done. Cooper was just an asshole. He was a piece of shit. So I didn't feel like that, put the pieces together. Secondly, the reason why we all are thinking Cooper is guilty is because over the course of the book, he keeps saying, I'm guilty about something. I'm guilty about something. And there's a part of the book where he starts suspecting, because his daughters are like, Dad, something's wrong with Mom. We think she's a vigilante. Like, something happened to the coach after Izzy told her what happened. Zane has got a broken neck after I told Mom what happened. Like, you got to come home. You got to help. And one of the things that Cooper does is, remember, he checks out her location. And when he finds out that she went to his boss's house,
because it leaves your last locations on the app that she created.
Debbie is super smart. She actually created an app that she puts on all of her family's phone that they always know where they are unless you turn it off. So he checks her location and he goes to one of the addresses because he sees this is my boss's house. He goes into the house. He finds his boss is dead. And in his head, he's thinking, he's got a gunshot to the head. He knows that some money recently went missing. He knows that Debbie is going crazy. And he thinks Debbie is setting him up, just like we think Debbie is setting him up for the murder of his boss. And you know why he thinks Debbie is setting him up? Because of his secret, which also makes us think. So he knows that she found out about her cheating, except his secret is that he's an alcoholic. Why would he think that Debbie is setting him up for murder because he's been hiding the fact that he's an alcoholic? That didn't make any sense. So you've been hiding the fact that you're an alcoholic and your wife is going to set you up for murder?
The Cooper in the book, remember, we have two Cooper's perspectives. It's the first Cooper who is actually her husband, and then when they go to the cheating, it's that Cooper. It's Jesse.
I looked. We only see the cheating from Harley's point of view when she sees Cooper. Because I went and checked. The only Cooper point of view, I think, is the husband only. It's not the fake Cooper. Because even in The Intruder, do you remember the names were similar but they weren't exactly the same. So it wasn't. It was because I went back and checked
to her. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? I listened to it. So I thought that when the cheating was happening, when I went back, I'm
only
like, oh,
in Harley's
Cooper
point of view, which makes sense because she thought that was Cooper. But it just didn't make sense to me. Remember, he texted her, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, when she's driving. Because he's trying to apologize to her like, I'm so sorry. He was thinking that she set him up for murder because he's an alcoholic. That doesn't make sense. And even at that time, she looks at the text and she was just like, well, he's sorry, huh? It's a little too late for that. So what was she talking about? What did she think that he was apologizing for? Because she never even said so all that didn't make sense. Because he said sorry and she's like, but it's a little too late to say sorry now. And I'm thinking, okay, that makes sense because she's about to set his ass up. But it turns out that she wasn't trying to set him up. She was trying to set Jesse up. So what did she think he was apologizing for?
Well, she probably didn't know that he was, she knew he was keeping a secret. She didn't know what it was though.
But she didn't know what it was.
He turned his location off too. So it was
she knew it, but she knew he wasn't cheating. Remember, she even says to Harley, she was like, she's like, he's loyal. He would never cheat on me. Yes.
But she didn't know what he was out there doing though. I mean, it's still up to suspicion though.
I just feel like she put these little things in. She put these little things in, like to make
to confuse us though.
But
that's to confuse us.
It has to make sense though. You can't put it in and then not follow up with it because that didn't make sense. And then even the ending, when we find out what Jesse did, you remember he's laying there and he's like, I'm not even like a real criminal. Like, I didn't kill that girl. Like, I'm not like my cellmate. He's happy to have stabbed someone in the neck. Maybe I did some things I shouldn't have done in college, but I don't deserve to be in here. And then that's
to make you feel bad right then and there, because it's like, damn, he did rape, but he didn't kill him.
No,
it's like,
I don't feel bad for him.
But I'm saying it's that moment where like a little bit of like this much, you know what I'm saying? But it's
like he made it seem like I haven't even done anything that bad to be here. And then he's getting his ass beat and they're telling them, this is not from us. This is from another cellmate whose sister that you raped and she disappeared. And that's why they're beating his ass. And then he's like, yeah, now I remember that I killed her. I'm like, so you forgot that you killed somebody when you were talking about
he said I raped her, But then he said, then as they was whooping him out, that's when it came up. He said, I went to confront her and then I murdered her. Like,
yeah,
then
but
he
I'm
took it
saying
away.
he was saying I'm not as bad as my cellmates because he stabbed somebody in the neck, and I'm thinking, and then it was like after he's getting beat up, then he's like, oh, I did go and confront her and kill her. That's right. How did you forget when you were thinking about all the bad stuff that you did? That you like it was
I'm just happy he got hit in the head. I like when that tooth was loose.
Too.
When that little snagging tooth was loose, I was like, yes.
He could feel that tooth in his mouth.
Yes,
yep,
I was
said
like,
the same thing.
And that's what we come down to. It's like, I felt like in the final segment, right? Out of this, us going back and forth about what we liked about the book, what we didn't like about the book. Does this book have replay value to you?
What do you mean replay value? Like,
and I would say, would you reread it, listen to it? If it came on if it was made into a show, would you watch it? Or a movie like A Housemaid, would you watch it? Is it something you would be like, yo, we got to go see this? Or if you wanted to recommend something in your book club, does it has replay value to you?
Yes, I think it does. It's a psychological thriller. I actually just finished a book. It's called Killing Me Softly by Sandy Jones. It comes out next month, and it's kind of the same. It's like that psychological thriller where dual point of view, you think you know and you don't know. I think Debbie sits up there in those psychological thrillers, unreliable narrator tropes. I definitely would recommend it. I don't know if I would see it in a movie though, only because I told you it reminds me too much of that movie Serial Mom from the 70s or 80s or something. It literally, it's the same thing. It's this housewife who sings with the birds and takes care of her family, but when someone fucks with her family, she goes and violently kills them. It's a hilarious movie. It's satirical, but this book is like that movie. So I don't know if I would go see the movie because I feel like I've already seen it, but it definitely has replay value. It sits up there with the best of those psychological, unreliable narrators books. I would agree with that.
I'm going with all the yeses. I'll go see it in the movie theaters. I'm going to tell it. I done told 2 people about the book already, so I'm going to shout this book out. I love this book, but let's get into our critique, our bookmark system here. Well, we go 1 through 5 where we rate a book, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest, obviously. So as we go, I'm going to let you know the bookmark number 1 is not it. Bookmark number 2 had potential. Bookmark number 3 was a solid read. 4 bookmarks, you go BookFest approved. And 5 bookmarks, certified classic. So, ladies first, what did you rate it?
I feel like when I first rated it, I rated it a 3.5 bookmarks. But I feel like talking it over with you and going over some of the details of the book and like the pacing and the writing and the characters and psychological suspense, I think I will move it up to 4 out of 5 stars or 4 out of 5 bookmarks. There, like I talked about there at the end, there were some inconsistencies. I feel like with the thriller, there were still some niggling questions that I had that I feel like weren't wrapped up. One of them being, remember how Cooper is afraid that he's on the camera when he comes out of his boss's house? Debbie never mentioned removing him from the camera. And I kept thinking, if the police check that camera, they're going to see Cooper on there as well as Jesse.
She probably removed, well, she did say she deleted the footage. She probably
deleted her footage before, right? So I was just thinking, did she delete Cooper's footage? There was that thing that I was like, she didn't say whether she deleted it. It was something else that was at the top of my head, but just little things in the end where I was like, that didn't necessarily come together. So that's why I was going to give it 3.5 stars. But when I think of everything else, I really enjoyed this book. And I feel like that's a big part of the rating. Did you enjoy it? I did. I had fun. I enjoyed it. And that counts for something. So I'm going to give it 4 bookmarks out of 5.
Okay, so we in the same boat, man, because I gave it 4 out of 5 too. All right, it's BookFest approved, y'all. We gave it 4 out of 5.
We got that BookFest stamp.
Yeah, the BookFest stamp is all on Dear Debbie, y'all. And I just feel like it was just inches away from a certified classic.
Yeah,
it was just a few inches away from certified classic. But I mean, 4 out of 5 is still a great rating. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
BookFest approved over here. You see, we've been smiling and laughing and joking about this whole story.
That's
because this was one of those thrillers. Yeah, this was one of those books where we was tied up and we was locked in, man. But we recommend y'all read Dear Debbie by Freida McFadden. This is her first book in 2026. You will not be disappointed. I promise you. There's a lot.
And we are really big Freida.
Yes. And there's a lot of things in this book you can unpack. You heard some spoilers from here, but there's still time. Like I say, we gave you the warning, the label and all that. Just go ahead and pick up the book. Is there anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here, Key?
Just that if you like, I think we should definitely add this at the end. If you like Dear Debbie by Freida McFadden, I think you would also like Killing Me Softly by Sandy Jones. You would like Look Closer by and you would like Look Closer by David Ellis. Both of those books are unreliable narrators, dual point of view. You think you know, but you don't know. And so if you read those books, you would absolutely love Dear Debbie. And if you loved Dear Debbie after you read it, check out those other books as well. But this is another episode of the BookFest Club. Dear Debbie is BookFest approved. It gets me and Jay's stamp. And thank you guys so much for always tuning in. I hope you guys will read the book and come back and leave a comment about what you thought about our review.
You heard the queen, man. She's the Rika. I'm the speaker, and Jules is the architect. Until the next episode, peace.
Peace.